Welcome. No, I need lights on. What's going on, my people? Welcome to yet another YouTube video. But this one's going to be a little bit different because this one is going to be a update video. I'm doing this for a couple of you guys who may be curious on how well the head unit works on the Lexus. Currently, the head unit is one of my most popular videos. Surpasses most, if not all, my videos combined, except for the blow-off valve video, which that one's at like, I think 365. But you guys seem to enjoy that video, so I'm going to give you guys an update. Now, I can't remember if I said I was going to update you guys 6 months or a year in. So we're gonna do something kind of in the middle. So it's about eight months or 9 months since I installed the head unit. So what I'm gonna do is I've got a list of some questions that I've written down so I don't forget, because I like to forget quite a bit. So I'm just this video is going to be me going over all of the questions that you guys might have about the head unit. So I guess without further ado, let's get into it. One of the questions that I had written down was, I guess how well the head unit actually connects to a phone. Now, I personally have an iPhone, so I can't really speak on like Android all that well, but for me, it actually connects quite quickly. Like, I believe I get into my car, it loads and it connects within, I think, 5 seconds, which I think is actually pretty quick. So, but like I said, I don't know how it is for Android, so I can't really speak all that well on Android. So I guess if one of you guys has a Android phone and has one of these head units, just put a comment down below whether or not it actually connects fairly quickly. If it connects faster, that's cool. But so we'll get on to the next question, which is, what is the biggest positive on the head unit that I have? I personally think that the biggest positive for me is just having an aftermarket radio, especially like a touchscreen. Kind of modernizes the interior a little bit, and it doesn't look overly out of place like some head units might. And it's just nice to be able to have like Apple CarPlay, or for people who have Android Auto, because it does have that. It's nice to have those features and stuff. Like, I don't necessarily have a place to put my phone in the car, because the only place I'm really able to put my phone would be in the cup holder. And when I have like Apple Maps or Google Maps or whatever on, and I'm trying to go somewhere, I have to constantly look at my cup holder, and that's all the way down here. So I just think it's nice to be able to have like a navigation system on like a head unit. So I'd say that that's probably the biggest positive. Sorry for the zapper. So that's my biggest positive on it. It's a nice modern touch to a 2003 car. So how does it sound? I would say, and even with the stock speakers that are in there, granted I know that, I mean, Lexus was pretty ahead of their game when it came to audio system and stuff. So the speakers are a little bit more, I don't know if I'd say like bulletproof maybe, or it just sounds really good. They just limit it with the head unit that's in the car. So putting in an aftermarket radio does definitely help out the audio quite a bit, which also brings me in the next question, the audio tuner. For me, because I'm not very well equipped to the equalizer or anything like that, so it's very difficult for me to figure out what does what, and it's hard for me to tune the radio. But there are presets in there for you guys. There's like a bass boosted, there's ones for like, it adjusts the audio for like rock kind of sounding music, or like musical or something. And it's a little confusing, but there are presets in there for you guys that might help for you guys, but it's been difficult for me to kind of figure it out. So the next question is there something that I'd change on here? I personally think that the buttons are something that I would change a lot because, and this could just be me, but in winter especially, like it does it now too, even though it's like summer, but in winter the volume buttons tend to stick, and I don't know if that's just because of the plastic or whatever, but they tend to stick. And there was one instance where my wife ended up turning up the radio, and I know like the sweet spot on where to press the volume button, and she doesn't, so she just pressed the volume up and it stuck, and it just kept on going up, and we were freaking out on the freeway. So that's one of the things that I would probably change, is like the buttons on that radio. It's a little finicky, but it's like any car that has like a fun quirk to it or something like that. You know, you kind of know what it is, but other people might think that it's a little annoying, but you're already kind of well acquainted with it and stuff. Which also brings me to my biggest negative on the radio. The biggest negative that I have for the radio would be that I don't have heat. It's been an issue for me since I've installed the radio, and I've looked all over on the Google to try and figure out if anyone else has had that issue. And I think there's been a couple people that have had that issue, and there's been a couple people that don't really have to deal with that at all, or haven't had that issue. But from what I can gather, I think it has something to do with the canvas that you connect to it. Now, I don't know if mine is up to date, because when I go into the settings, it says it's not installed or updated, I think. But it's one of those things where I'm trying to figure it out, and I've even tried to reach out to the company, iDoing, to get an update file for it. And I've even asked other people and haven't heard back really. There has been a couple people on Facebook that have reached back out to me and stuff, and none of those ideas really worked, which kind of sucks. But that's my biggest gripe with that head unit, is that I don't have heat, but I do have AC. So when it comes to summer, it's a blessing to have the AC. So I think I could deal with the no heat for the summer. And then what I had to do last winter was I had to swap it out with my old climate control controller, and it looked jank. So one of the things that I was kind of rubbed me the wrong way about it, but it's personal preference, and it could just be me. You guys could buy it and it could work totally fine. So I guess just keep that in mind when you go and purchase it. Now, the next question that I have for it would be how well the apps work on there. Now, I haven't really dug into the apps all that much, but the ones that I have dug into, they've worked pretty good, flawlessly. I know that you can have YouTube, and I mean, it's an Android, so you can download like pretty much anything on an Android. From the ones that I have looked into, they've worked totally fine. They've worked pretty good. So I know that's pretty bland, but like I said, I haven't really dug into the apps all that much, and the ones that I have dug into, they worked fine. So one of the last questions that I have is, would I prefer to buy something else? It is a very difficult question. I think what I would do is, because I have that GPS navigation system already in my car, there is a way that you can get a screen in there. You just have to gut the old one out and stuff, which I prefer the look of it because it's more factory. If you guys don't know me, I'm more of a OEM plus kind of guy. I don't really go all out with like body kits or, you know, slamming cars down and having like -20 degrees of camber or anything like that. I more lean on like the OEM plus. I have aftermarket wheels and my car is lowered, but the way that I have it set up right now, it looks more on the OEM plus side of things. And even the front lip that I ended up purchasing for this car, which you guys will see sometime soon, it's more of a OEM kind of style lip. I think it's a TRD replica. So I think what I would do next time, and this is more labor intensive, is I would rip out the navigational system and I would put in basically the same screen. I would put the same screen in there, and it would be more of a OEM look to it, and instead of having the big screen down in the bottom, it would be up on top. So I think that's what I would probably do. instead. Plus, I think it's a little bit cheaper. I think it's about $250 to do that rather than the $500 I think that I spent on the head unit. So if you guys are more inclined to dig into the world of kind of making it work, I think you guys would probably prefer the navigation area for the head unit instead of the one that I ended up getting. But if you are one that doesn't really want to mess with anything, if you just want to plug it in and drive it, then I would probably say that you guys would more than like the iDoing head unit. Now I know this is going to be a short video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Before I end this, I'm going to rate the head unit that I have in there, minus all the flaws that I've had with that head unit and stuff. I would rate it 4 out of 5 Supra noises. So I think it was a pretty good purchase. It was a bit expensive, but I think it was overall a pretty good purchase. So take that with what you will. I think that's how you say that. So I appreciate you guys immensely, and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure that you are following all our socials, and when you go down there to subscribe, you make sure that hit that like button, and definitely subscribe, because I'm pretty sure my content's getting better. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya.